we're live. We're live. I love it. I was like, why is my chair feeling so uncomfortable? Because there was a strategies for health, big old book sharing the chair with me. Uh, oh my gosh, it's Wednesday, which means what? Another edition of Live and Unscripted. And today I'm flying solo, which I haven't done for a really long time. And to be like 100% transparent, I have put this off a little bit. I did receive a phone call just at about 11 o'clock, so I took that. It was a beautiful excuse for procrastination. Um, I think part of it is one, I just haven't done it by myself, like gotten on here and just chewed the fat with you by myself on the podcast for a long time, and I've been unsure of like what I'm actually going to say and what I could say. I've had a lot of thoughts and such running through my mind and through my heart, and but nothing, you know how when that happens, but nothing's like really solid or really settles in. And so I've been kind of waiting for that to happen, knowing that uh this cute gal that I will hold on. This is well, I'll just call her back. A really amazing soul that I want to bring on the podcast is actually calling me at this moment. So Jesse, I'll get back with you. Um, I've been waiting for it to just settle in, and what was really interesting is inside of the last phone call, I think I felt some of that settle in, and at the same time it feels a little bit some of it feels a little, there's hesitancy to want to talk about it, uh, but we'll go there in a minute. So um, I'm thinking house cleaning things. The river trip is August 14th through 20th in 2024. We are taking registrations. I would highly encourage you to get your $500 deposit in and get yourself registered and hold your spot, because the price is going to go up. And it's also important that we have some funds to help pay for that. And so that the establishment that we work with knows that you really want to be there and that we're not just making it up. So I would encourage you to get on and get yourself registered and pay that $500 deposit that holds your spot. There's a payment plan after that, a couple of payments. You're welcome to pay in full. We know that it's an investment, and that for some of you, the payment, breaking it up, was probably an easier thing to do. So August 14th through 20th, we are full on expecting to see you in a boat with us on the main salmon here in Idaho. Absolutely incredible experience, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. If you are a creator or a leader of any kind, if you're writing a book or you're making classes or you're teaching classes or whatever, this is an amazing place for you to come and be. And when I say be, I mean to just be, to really come home to yourself and to shut out all of the noise of the world, because the only noise you're going to hear is the shiz going on in your head, and that may scare you, and that's okay. I encourage you to come and listen to all the junk it's telling you, so that you can find the truth, that you can have better and more content, so that you can write that book easier, so you can create that class easier, so that you can level up your leadership, but also just level up your life. So again, that's August 14th through 20th, and it's a $500 deposit. Let's get those in quickly, because in January, the price is going to go up. And if you get your deposit in, that locks in this price right now. Okay, so I'm just going to apologize in advance for any what I consider gross noises. My nose is stuffy. I woke up with a little bit of a stuffy head. I'm going to do my best not to snort, but sometimes it's subconscious and I don't recognize that. So please forgive me if that is annoying to you. I'm not really asking for apology. I'm just asking you to overlook it. Um, let's see. We're 100 days of expansion still in our minds. We're human. It's not playing out how we would have liked it to. Just it's interesting how life is what happens when you have other plans, right? I believe Albert, my buddy Albert Einstein said that. I could have that wrong. Um, but still happening. We're in our own 100 days of expansion. You're still welcome to join us if you want support. Uh, just going into 2024 with momentum and excitement and moving the intentions that you want for next year powerfully into the new year. So that will go through the middle of February. Um, I personally have I've had some drag my feet moments and getting to recognize we should be talking about this inside of the podcast, but it's okay. Um, recognize why am I dragging my feet? Is that something that I really want to do? Is that something that is right timing for me to do at the moment? And so just some really cool things are coming about that way in my personal 100 days of expansion. Um, so I'm going to be excited to see what comes from that, no matter what it is. And again, just invite you to join us. Okay. In this podcast, we always start with just some moments of breathing. If you're new to Live and Unscripted, this is a podcast where I typically interview people who I don't know. I meet them, I have a small conversation. I'm like, hey, do you want to be on my podcast? I love it because it allows the practice of getting to know people, of asking questions, of really recognizing the value in someone else's story, but allowing them to share it. And I think the piece that I love the absolute most about it is inspiration gets to be the guide. And we get to listen. And we get to allow questions to formulate through the listening of what the other person is saying. And so this is a program led by inspiration. And part of the ways that I lean into that inspiration is to just take a few moments of breathing, and I invite you to do it with me so that you can let go with me all of the things that have already happened in today and let go of all the things that we think are going to happen in the rest of the day, and we can just be right here right now, where our hearts and our minds and our brains and our guts can come into this beautiful coherent state where they're calm. They think more clearly, they come up with solutions more clearly, and they listen a whole lot better. So today, nothing special. We're just gonna close our eyes and breathe. I would invite you, as you're doing that, to just notice how you're breathing, whether you're just taking it all up here or if you're allowing the breath to go down into your ribs, into your lungs, and down into your pelvis. And today, if you're not, to just focus on breathing a little slower and a little deeper, and just allow things that feel good to be present in mind, and to just notice if other stuff wants to come in, that you just let it go. It's kind of like meditation, right? So as we do this, I'm going to invite you to do it with downward gaze or closed eyes, whichever feels most comfortable for you. And we'll just do it together. We'll do it for about 60 seconds, which may feel like forever, and that's okay. So downward gaze or closed eyes, and then just go ahead and start your breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Again, just noticing what that breath actually feels like in your body as you're breathing. Where is it going? Is it staying in your chest? Or are you allowing it to move down? And if not, invitation to just breathe a little slower and a little deeper. Notice how, with your eyes closed, your other senses want to kick in, especially hearing. The sensations on your skin. Maybe notice how your clothes feel. Can you feel the air coming in and out? And just feel yourself settle. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And how was that for you? Like, what did you experience? I'm gonna see if I can find us on our live here. Um, oh, that's why I'm not finding it because we are being broadcast to my personal page today, and then oh, I can see comments on here. That's fantastic. Um, being broadcast on my personal page, and then we'll share it over to the Righteous Rebels page. Typically, we do this in the Righteous Rebels, and then we share it out from there. Also, you can see probably live in LinkedIn. So wherever you're joining us from, thank you. Thank you for sharing your time and your space and your energy with us. Um, and when I say us, it's me and those who are watching and being a part of the program. Uh, what did you experience? What did you experience when you're breathing? Like, did you actually notice the slowdown? Did you feel? Did you feel the rhythm like start to settle in? Did you feel your clothes on your body? Did you notice thoughts? I would love to hear about it. Um, Britt, I love that you're here. Britt is somebody who I've known for a vast majority of my life, especially when I was younger. I used to babysit her and her brothers a lot, and so Britt, thanks for joining. I love you. I've always loved you. Okay, so today, like seriously, I contemplated not doing this, uh, and I'm here because one, I want to be here, and two, to just practice consistency and to trust this process of intuition, and that whatever needs to come to mind and come out of my mouth today is exactly what needs to come to mind and come out of my mouth today, even though it felt a little bit unnerving or nerve wracking today. I felt a little bit uneasy about it. Um, we're here. We're here together, and we're practicing being here together, and that feels pretty amazing. So, thank you again, wherever you're joining from, whether you're watching on Facebook, uh, LinkedIn, or YouTube. If you are not a part of our The Righteous Rebels Facebook group, I invite you to head on over, click the join button, boink, and we'll let you in because we love the magic that you bring to our community. Um, it's been an interesting. Oh, this thought just came. There is a the Righteous Rebels Facebook page. That's ours as well, but we currently don't do anything with that. That was created for a different purpose. So if you want to be in on all of the yumminess that goes on here, go to the Facebook group and ask to join. Okay, so it's been an interesting year. I haven't really shared a lot about it. I probably not going to share a lot about it today unless for some reason it just like feels like the thing that I'm supposed to be doing, or feel inspired to do. But it's been a year. It's been a year of total what I would consider unexpected learning and growth and expansion and practice and in ways that I wasn't intending. Um, and I always say it started with going to India, but it started way before that. I think I look back to a race that I did in July of last year where I got caught in the top of a mountain in a lightning storm, totally exposed in the rocks, and how that shifted some things for me. But I think where it really shifted for me was when my brother, just younger than me, Cody, passed away. And the recognition that this life is short and that we really don't know. when our time is up. And to have him pass in March and to have my own experience in July of like, oh my gosh, I could go too. Like that was eye opening for me. And at that same point in July, I was had a decision in front of me of whether or not to find the way and the funds to go to India and be a part of a speaking experience that I I I knew that I wouldn't be going for the reason it was being touted, which was to speak in front of hundreds of thousands of people. Although that was enticing and it was cool, I knew there was a bigger purpose. I just didn't know what that bigger purpose was. And so this year, I kind of take the year and start it in October. So October of last year, so 2022, is when I feel like things really started to um, start taking some shifts for me. I was sitting in a room with a gal named mine Lisa and a man named Doug, and we were having a conversation about business and life and dreams and knowing how to dream and dreaming big. And the statement was said, "Can you imagine what life would look like in a year?" And that really stuck with me. And wow, I'm just gonna say, wow, I had no idea what life. I'd never really thought about it before, to be honest. Like from year to year, what how different life can be. I've had many experiences of the differences, but to actually put it in those time frames and to look at it and I'm looking over. I'm gonna grab something. So um, that's been this constant thing in my mind of like, wow, what a difference a year made in all of the areas of my life that I wasn't intending to make those kinds of changes in. Um, my my relationships have changed in drastic ways. How I feel about certain things have changed in drastic ways. Um, my my business has changed in big ways. And am I where I would like to be? No, no, I'm not. But I know I'm exactly where it's important for me to be. And in the learning and the expansion that my soul wants and requires at this time in life. So I'm looking back and what is whoa. Hey, hey, we have a guest. Check it out. Hold on. So as she's coming on, just talking about it's Leah. Hey, and look, she's in Canada.
I'm in Canada,
My gosh,
Canada, as we like to call it.
Canada. So I'm just talking about the difference that a year can make, and that it's not even necessarily the difference that we think it's going to make. Talking about how my relationships have drastically changed, and my business has changed, and how my thoughts have changed, and it's not necessarily in the ways that I thought I wanted them to be, but how it's what my soul needs and wants at the time. And so last week, like it's so funny that it's so present in my mind of like just that statement of what a difference a year can make, or that a lot can happen in a year when you actually take the time to recognize it. So it came time to buy a new planner. I My last one was like an 18-month planner, so I haven't bought a planner in a long time. And so Lee and I were out at one of the local stores looking for planners, and she pulled this one out. She's like, "I think this one was meant for you," and this is what it says.
A lot can happen in a year.
A lot can happen in a year, and I'm like, yeah, I think that's my planner. And because I'm looking forward now to like what is the next year going to bring. And I'm looking at the ways in which I'm dreaming, and I'm looking at the ways in which my heart and my mind are waking up, um and the things that I want to do, and noticing that some of the things that I've been thinking and dreaming are actually quite small, and that possibly could be some of the reasons why I don't necessarily like, I want to put attention into them, but what's happened is something really, really big, like something that I probably wouldn't have ever thought possible has come into presence, and I'm excited. I have no idea how it's going to happen. Leah keeps reminding me to just, show me the way. Universe, show me the way. Um, and so that's just kind of it's. I think that's where lots of my thoughts have been. Is just, wow, how much has changed in a year, and then moving forward, it's this. Sometimes it can feel fearful of like, oh my gosh, it's that practice of surrender, of allowing my ego to let go. Now, I'm not saying get rid of or obliterate my ego. I'm not a believer in that. I believe our egos have a purpose and a reason, or they wouldn't be here. It's when we allow them to take over that I think issues arise. Um, but in recognizing, like, it's that letting go of allowing my ego to be in charge, and really let my soul, my spirit, like, connect with the greater energy and creative powers and force of God and universe, and instead of trying to force things to happen. So goals, I'm going to say goals because that's a big topic this time of year. Allowing, having an idea of what I would like to, what I would like to see and would like to experience, and then allowing, like, just putting that out there and allowing my soul to connect with universe, and to just see the magic that takes place. And most often it's far bigger and better than one I could have dreamed or even imagined. So um I don't know. Thoughts on that, Leah? I can hear the pups in the back. I'm like, wow, it's been a minute since I've
Yeah,
heard.
it has been a minute. They're just very sucky. It was super adorable. I walked in.
Wait, did you just say they're super sucky?
They're super sucky, like, because they haven't seen me in a minute, so they're just
Sucky meaning like they want to suction to you?
yeah, kind of like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So it was hilarious though. Like, they're big dogs. They're like 100-pound dogs, and the male dog I got out of my vehicle yesterday, and he like sniffed around me, and then he started prancing. It was I wish I had my camera on. It was the funniest dang thing I'd ever seen. Like, he was prancing around the yard, and then he come sniff me again and go prance. So it was hilarious. Yeah, but I love that you were talking about the piece of, it's not where I thought I should be, or it's not how it's not where I think I wanted to be. It doesn't look like how I thought it would look. I think of that in this past year. And, similarly, when I was in India, I wasn't part of that conversation, but just, I think maybe Jane had said that to me, like in a call with her. She said, like, where do you want to be in a year? What do you want your next year to look like? And I had a totally different plan. And yeah, like, it's so funny because we think we're so smart and we're so clever and we've got it all figured out. And I think there's a song I wrote, and it has that, like, I thought I had it all figured out, and I had this whole life, like, I had this picture of a life, and now it's like it's in pieces. Like, it's not a picture I'm recognizing anymore. And but that it's okay. Like, and I think there's something powerful when you because, like, where do we plan from? We plan from what we've been taught, and to move from a place that's not just like our logical and the safe and that route, that we can move from a place that is instinctual, and that is like, has so much knowledge that we're not even fully aware of, but like, really learning to read that energy, trust that energy, and follow that energy, even though it feels scary and it bumps up against
And,
everything that I
and
knew.
sometimes, right? And sometimes it feels wrong.
Yeah. And I mean, but
Even
that's,
though it's not. Like it feels so right, but like you say, bumps up against all of the other things we've been taught, and so therefore that's what I mean by wrong.
yeah. And I'm getting to look at some of those stories and the constructs that I've been raised in, and the things that we've collectively agreed upon as a society as acceptable. And I'm not talking about murder here, people. Like I'm talking about like just different ways that life can look. And just really noticing in this season how I'm not feeling the need to attach to other people's stories, that I can hear their feelings, I can hear frustrations, I can hear like their confusion, but not attach myself, or not, I don't have to ride their bandwagon. Like I can stay true to myself, but hold space for them. Like I think that's been a huge learning for me this year, is just because they feel it or have those opinions of me, or and they can be full on negative, but it doesn't determine who I am and my worth. And really, I think that's been a huge realization, is like that I'm still me, even if you don't see me the way I see me. And that I can hold that space for myself, and just being in a place of having self-confidence and self assurity, that I'll figure things out. Like I always figure things out, and
Well,
reminding myself of how I have in the past.
okay, so let's talk about that for a little bit of like, um, I'll figure things out, because sometimes in my mind, like I'll figure it out almost feels like a forcing instead of an allowing. And so talk to me a little bit about that. Like I know for myself, that's been one of the areas in this particular year that I have really noticed of how where I tend to be in the past someone who has got to figure it out. Like I got to just figure it out. And I remember a couple of years ago standing just like in my front room, which is just like right there, and having this thought of like, stop figuring it out. Stop thinking you have to have it figured out, and just be. Allow the answer to just formulate when you're ready for it, and then it just filters in gently and softly, and you're like, oh, one of my favorite quotes is that Maria Rainer Rilke one of like, live the questions, live the questions. And I think I definitely have a much deeper understanding of that now. I can't say I understand it fully, because hopefully I have a lot of life left to live.
Yeah.
But I have a better understanding of that. And this, so tell me how that's been for you, because I think for me, um, I know that I had said to God earlier, like, I don't know if it was like around the time of my brother's passing, or if it was after my experience of really, really believing that I was going to die on the mountaintop, where I was like, I think I'm emotionally mature enough now that I can make hard decisions on my own. Like I don't really need you to meddle or to formulate things in my life, and cause upheaval. And then getting the experiences where he's like, okay, well, let's just give you some practice grounds for that. And then getting this whole year, and instead of going to what I typically would have done, which was figure it out, and I spent time in figure it out. um
Tell me what that means to you, because I feel like there's a different energy. Like I feel like I know what you're referring to and figure it out. And I think it's a little bit different as to how I'm
that's
feeling that right now.
that's what I'm wondering for you, is like, what does that mean? Because for me, figure it out means I'm going to put my mind to work on it, and I'm gonna set a goal, and I'm gonna
It
just
feels
like
like
get
there's
in.
a timeline
Yeah,
when you say
definitely a
it.
timeline. Most often, not always, but it feels like a really like humany thing to do versus allowing, when I allow for myself, when I allow surrender, and I really allow my soul to speak to me and to connect to, like, really connect to the energy of this world and of the universe, and to trust. Figuring out sometimes for me doesn't necessarily allow trust, whereas when I let go of that, I have to trust. And that's been a scary part of this process of the last year and a half of change, but especially the last year, and to allow things to unfold versus figure out. So that, I'm curious as to what you mean when you say that, because I hear that and I feel myself want to go.
I think I just mean that I'll find my way. Like, no matter what, I'm going to be okay. And
But how do you find your way? Like, what does that process look like for you? And is it you, or are you allowing, I mean, I think I have an idea of the answer because I've been living it with you for the last year. But what someone listening may not, like, what is that process for you? Like, you find your way, and why do you believe that you will? Because I know there's been moments when I'm kind of have been unsure that I would find my way. I always
um,
do,
I
but it's
think
not because
no, and I think it's because I'm not attached to one way that things can look. I'm really open to believing that whatever way life goes, like I used to have a really hard time with making decisions because I was super concerned with making the right decision and, weighing out all the consequences and all the this and all the that. And I just got to a point in my life where I'm like, either way, it works itself out. Like, and I didn't have to do a lot of things. Like I've been through
and
some. Go ahead.
have you found that either way um wasn't necessarily a wrong way, it was just a way?
It was just exactly. It's just a way, and that I was led that way because there was something I needed to learn there. So I really try to just stay open to what it could look like, and be adaptable and flexible, and not rigid in that it has to look the way that I envision it. Because I think to myself, who am I to say that it has to look that way? Like I'm not God. I only have as far as my perspective will take me. And I believe in a bigger picture. And I think going through some really hard things growing up really equipped me for reevaluating those experiences in a way that I see how they serve me and how they molded me into the person I am today. And had I not had those experience, I wouldn't have the level of gratitude and appreciation, and I'll even say creativity that I have, having gone through those things. So I think I believe in there's always something to learn. Figuring it out for me is like that no matter what, I'm going to be okay. Like I'll find ways to be okay because I believe in a world that is I believe in people. This is going to hit me. I believe in
This is what I
trusting.
love about this, is we get to go there.
I just I'm a person that I don't always lock my cars. I don't always lock, like I remember even after putting gifts for my family like in the trunk, and someone popped the trunk in that night and emptied my kids' wallet. Like I still, even though I had that experience, I still believe in people. And I wasn't up. I was initially upset, of course, because my stuff is gone. But I'm like, dang, what experience has that person been through that they feel the need that they have to do that? And I just, it's kind of that. Maybe that's not the best thinking, but I believe in other chances and giving grace, and that when we know better, we do better. And
Oh, yeah.
I believe I just can't be cynical. I can't be closed off to, I don't know. I think there's so much opportunity out there, and there's so many good people. And um, just because I haven't met them or come across them, like, and I think especially in the last year, being out of my four walls more, and getting to really live what that feels like, and share that energy with others. I'm like, I can't fail. There's no way to fail, because everything's an opportunity. So I think when I say figure it out, I more mean like I'll find my way. Yeah, I'll I feel confident in the tools that I have. I feel confident in um because I've figured myself out through other found my way out, or figured it out, figured my way. I don't know, whatever. I found my way through really challenging things in the past, and I feel like if I could get through those things, like there's nothing I can't get through. So
I love it. So I think this thought came to mind as I was listening to you, like on the figuring out piece, and even just like the human piece is the culture that I was raised in, and I think lots of us are raised in that the culture of being busy all the time and doing and accomplishing, and you got to be able doing something and accomplishing something in order to be something.
yeah,
And the reality is it's so backwards. And I was thinking about that by way of like the righteous rebels and my own lived experience and what I'm wanting to bring to other people, because I feel like it's so important. And it's taken, so it's that understanding of like we're already a being who are here to just do some things, but that we don't need to do the things in order to have worth or to have value, or to even really have meaning. It just adds it just adds a playfulness and experience to our life, and that knowledge and the growth, like the things that we do. Um, when I figured that out for myself, it felt so expansive. And people would say, well, what do you how did they ask me, or they would say you're a runner or you're a mom or I'm like, I am not any of those things. Those are things that I get to do. Those are things I get to experience. um, and that was so freeing because it allowed me to recognize like I can be in those activities or those experiences and taking all of that in, but it doesn't change who I am as a being. And that I can just come back to quietness and this awesome sauce that's all of this. And the recognition, I still don't always know how to put that into words, but it is a very huge part of it. It's basically coming back to my own godness and the godness that is me, that is this beautiful magnificent creation that in turn creates. And bringing other people to an understanding of that space and the recognition that when we're in that space, all of the things that they're working so hard to do and figure out actually happen, um, in bigger, better ways. And I'm still learning it. Like, let's be real, I'm still learning it. I still get frustrated. I still have doubt. I still wonder when the hell things are gonna, pick up and actually. And then I get to remember like there's other things that must be more important for me to learn in this moment, and that everything is still just playing out. You're laughing. Tell me.
I think it's funny how you put that, and I love that you brought those pieces in, because I know in the last year, um, I've learned a lot of that from you, in the sense of like I gathered my worth with how busy I was, and I was earning my keep, and I was like, the busier I was, the more valuable I saw myself. Like my worth was so wrapped up in that. And I realized in the last year that's how I was, That's how I was looking for love. Like that's how um it's the only way I saw that I could be loved. If, you know, I remember hurting my back and I was out, like I couldn't walk by my unassisted for a little while. And as a mom of four, like that was devastating to my ego because my family had to function. Um, my family had to function without me always managing everything. And then I'm like, well, shoot, look at, they're doing it without me. Like, what's my value? How am I useful? And I remember thinking to myself, like, how do people watch a show at the end of the night? Like, there's so much to do. And like, I never stopped. Like, I was just like, and that's why I think I slept so dang well because I was always on the go. And I think the last year has really been learning to love and value myself without all the hustle, and that I'm still loved and cared for without all the hustle, and just how much that was a big part of the last 20 years of my lived experience. Like it's just, you know, and I see how that plays out in my daughter, and um, how she gathers her value. And it's just, it's hard to, once you see it, it's like you can't
It's
unsee it.
jarring,
It
right?
is jarring. So I think it's just been a beautiful practice of allowing myself to just be. And oddly, it wasn't as hard as I imagined. I have moments where I'm like, I gotta do all the things, and then, you know, I get the reminder, or I just take a second to check in, and I'm like, okay, do I actually need to do these things, or am I looking for validation? Am I looking for, like, I'm worthy, and you know, what is it I'm looking for in that moment, that
Yeah.
I'm not allowing myself to just let go of trying to control and do all the things.
It's such it's such an amazing and different way. It's like eye opening to think that way. Like, why am I doing the things that I'm doing? Am I even aware, or am I just in this constant habitual loop of that's how I get my worth and my value, and the things that add meaning to who I am. When it just I remember the moments of I love to serve, and I was taught service in a different way. And I remember the moments that I actually had to pause and be like, why am I choosing to do this act of service? And the recognition of, like, even though I love to do it, it is it was it there were tenets of, like, recognition, or that it made me somebody special, or like being like, those were really hard things to look at, and to be in a space of like, oh, wow. And to go, can I love to serve without having those things attached to it? And practicing that was really eye-opening for me. I would ask myself, oh, that looks like a really incredible service opportunity for service. And then I'd be like, why? Why are you doing that? One, does it fit into your schedule? Or are you sacrificing yourself to do that? Which I'm not saying that's always a necessarily, like, it's okay to sacrifice some of our time, but am I doing it because other people are going to see it? Am I doing it because um, there's going to be acknowledgement or recognition, and is it adding to my worth and value, or am I simply doing it because, one, it sounds fun, and it's going to add meaning to my personal lived experience, whether anyone else recognizes or sees it, and or am I doing it for that? Was so eye opening for me. It changed how many service opportunities I partook in. And that actually felt a little bit apathetic, because I thought, oh my gosh, I'm being selfish. I'm being like, I should be giving of my time and my service and my energy and my talents to that thing, when in reality, it was just going to wear me out, so that I didn't give I didn't have or give my fullness to the ones that I was specifically chose. If that does that make sense? Did I say that clearly enough?
Yeah, I think so. It's about where you want to focus your energy and how, like, and doing it for the right reasons and checking in with yourself. Because I agree. Like, we want to be super, you know, I know I wanted to be super mom, and I wanted to be super
Oh,
wife, and I wanted to be super
human. I want to be
everything.
superhuman.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely. And I'm just trying to think, like, where my world has that. I think for me it was saying no to my kids, like how hard that was. Um and just I felt like if I said no, I was letting them down in some way, because the reality is I could probably do what they were asking, but then if you're always doing everything and you're at their beck and call that way, and you're trying to outdo the last thing, like they're always going to ask for more. And
Right?
we only have so much
Well,
bandwidth, and you forget
and
who
you're
you are in that process.
absolutely, and you're also modeling to them that it's not okay to say no.
Yeah.
Um, I, yeah, yeah. My mind is like now spinning in so many different directions. Just again, just about the difference that a year can make. It feels like when I got on here, I was saying I didn't really want to get on here because I wasn't sure. Um,
In service, it's good to evaluate if you are sacrificing or suffering. Sacrifice is okay and sometimes needed, but suffering is not. From Kristen.
yeah, Kristen, that's beautifully said. I really appreciate that because suffering is a choice.
Hmm.
Um, I just heard a whole bunch of people's minds explode. No need to write nasty comments like, but suffering is a choice. Um, you look back
No need to
at people who survived things like the Holocaust, and they talked about the atrocities, but they talked about how they survived and they did it with happy spirits and hearts. So um, there are lots of people who will tell you that. So thank you for that. If you are sacrificing or suffering, I love it. Um,
Right.
so again, just thinking back, like the difference that a year can make, and where it has taken me, and I honestly had zero idea that when I told God I was mature enough to make decisions on my own, that that the things that have been placed before me would be placed before me. I didn't know that I would be building the kind of business that I'm building, that I would ask you to be a partner in that. Like that, all of that just came so, just the way that it came was crazy. I had no idea that I would uncouple from my relationship and change what that looks like and experience the hurt on both sides that that comes from that. But also knowing like there's a reason, and trusting that and watching life and allowing. I think that's the biggest thing for me is it's not even watching but allowing life to actually unfold and to trust it. That's a new thing for me because in the past it was always about goals. It was always about making things happen instead of having intentions and dreams and knowing that I am far bigger than my humanness. I've always known that. I haven't always known how to practice it. And this year has taught me a lot that way. I'm like, what is this emotion? It's gratitude. This emotion is gratitude. Just the crazy, awesome, I'm gonna air quote this, coincidences, just all the crazy awesome pieces that have I've watched fall into place. Um, some by no doing of my own, just simply because I was willing to make a decision that felt challenging. That felt scary. And to just say, here you go. And to trust and to watch life unfold in such beautiful ways. I know that I've been super concerned about judgment because I lived the life of judging. And I know what it feels like, and I know how easily it can come. And I think that's been part of my unfolding this year, is just that personal recognition of how much I was judging myself. And because I'm judging myself, I've been judging other people. And in building this business of being and coming home to yourself, um, for most people, probably for the first time, um, it's just been this crazy, awesome, beautiful journey of allowing and trusting. And I've heard these things, I've studied these things, but to actually experience them has been eye opening and heart opening, and in some moments, I don't even want to say gut wrenching because I don't know this been gut wrenching. What's another word for that? Um, I can't even think of it. All I can say is I definitely feel things in my guts. How about that? Um, and so as I look into like what I have, that new beautiful planner that says a lot can happen in a year, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, it can. And it makes like the human patterns, the old patterns, like want to like start screaming of like, yeah, but look what happened in this year. And they want to go to some of the fear-based things. And um I heard something the other day. Who said it? Kyle Cease was talking about, he had done some meditation and talking about again what a year can look like. And he was having his 2022 self talk to him of like his 2023 self, and like, wow, look what's happened. And then he goes, what if my 2024 self talked to me as my 2023 self? And I was like, wow, what a cool thing to be an active participant in intention and in the unfolding. um and it just makes me excited. And again, my mind isn't a lot. I have so many things that are running through my mind right now, just about the freedom that the unfolding and allowing and trusting brings into our world, what it has brought into my world. And it's a little jarring sometimes. um and I sometimes want to get stuck on how I can continue to see. I get stuck on the how instead of the allowing. um the righteous rebel community to be built, and teaching these things to people. And um because our world is shifting in that direction of beingness and understanding, um and feeling free. This morning I heard a quote by, I'm going to say his name incorrectly, I'm going to read it the phonetic reading of it. It's Albert. It says Albert Camus. I know that's not how you pronounce it because I heard it differently, but I just don't remember how. But this quote by him like really struck me. I think partly because it's a space where I have partially been, but I know that I'm headed. And it says the only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so incredibly free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. And to be able to live in everyday um, to live life every day at the level of experience instead of you have to you have to do something in order to be something that you can just experience. That's gosh, I'm almost afraid to say it out loud. That's where my intention is set for this next year, and getting really excited about what can happen in a year because I have big dreams. I have really big dreams. Wow, that all just came out like a waterfall. Thoughts?
Um, that was a lot. There's a lot there. I love that quote. It reminds me very much of when I did like a study. Um, I don't Kurosaka, I think it is, but he said the only in a mad world only the mad are sane, and
I I love it. When you first like spoke that quote to me, I was like, "Oh, I love it." Will you say it again?
in a mad world, only the mad are sane. And I loved that project. It was my senior year high school project, and I went like in a deep dive um, in all the ways that that could mean. What was I studied him and his life and why he might say that. But really, the whole point of it was like if we all agree on it, it's what we collectively call as sane. It's like something you had mentioned, you know, that we create our own experience and we create that meaning and we attach meaning to that experience. And I just feel like, you know, what if it wasn't we weren't attaching the meaning that everyone else gives to our experience. And I think that's what I've really been feeling into this last year is I think I said this earlier is I don't have to attach what their meaning is and lose myself in what everyone else's meaning of this
Yeah.
experience has been. And you know, it is challenging because you want to be loved, you want to be accepted. But I said this to my daughter yesterday is, you know, big ideas and big plans don't come from small thinking. You know, it's people who are willing to challenge the way we do things, who are willing to be judged. And you know, think of the first car or the airplane or you know, like I'm thinking of inventions because I can't think of thought leaders in this moment, but like how we don't understand them, so we mark them as crazy and outsiders and misfits and you know the other because they have a different way of thinking. And for myself,
Well,
I'm willing to walk that line, and that's why I resonate so much with Rebel, because it's not about causing trouble. It's about challenging, you know, groupthink. It's about challenging what we've been taught and really feeling into how we can evolve and expand our knowledge and horizons and just have a broader picture of what life can look like.
I love that. I love that a lot. Um, I lost my thought, but that's okay. My next thought is we have Natalie. Natalie's on here with us, and guess what? It's today's Natalie's birthday. Woo
Happy
woo!
birthday,
Happy
Natalie!
birthday to one of our amazing rebels. We're celebrating with you while we're not with you. How about that? I love it. MPS, check your messenger if you haven't already. Um, so I love that. Just yeah, what you said. What you said. You're welcome, sister. Uh, wow. All of a sudden, my mind has gone blank.
It honestly, Jenna, it's like it's believing in what could be far more than what you've already lived or what experience you have. It's allowing yourself to remember what it is to dream and imagine and really embrace your inner child and play in a space of what's possible, you know, like
Or to
that's
just play.
yeah. just
and create
what,
from those spaces.
well, and be curious. Like, what if I do this, what could happen?
That was my thought, the curious piece. How many times I've heard the words, "You're crazy. That's crazy. You're crazy." And I think, yeah, but which one of us is living? You ran 50 miles? You're crazy. You stayed up all night to do that? You're crazy. You ran 100 miles? You ran at all? You're crazy. You go run in the winter? You do, like, you're crazy. And the reality is, I'd rather be crazy because it means I'm living. And I was thinking about this earlier about the sharing of some of those experiences. I don't share to be like, "Ooh, look at me." I share because there's so much magic in what I'm experiencing that I want to share the magic. I want to share the beauty and the joy, and even beyond that, I want you to come do it with me, and to take your life to like new levels as well. And I think, I've had a few people say to me lately, "You haven't posted very much on Facebook." And the reality is, I've been rethinking, like, really making sure that what I'm posting is um with the right intent, with the intent that I would like it to have, which is, I want you to join me. I want to share the beauty. It really isn't about, "Hey, look what I can do." Um and to encourage you to do the same. Love you, Nat. Have amazing birthday celebrations, and we will chat with you soon. Um, and then also, because some of the things that have taken place in the last year have required some stepping back, a lot of self reflection, and they are of a spiritual nature for me, and there's a sacredness to them that I haven't been willing to share. I haven't been ready to share. And some of them will come in time, and some of them may never come to the masses. They will come in inspired moments with certain people. But for those of you who've noticed, I just want to say thank you for noticing and for saying something. But just moving forward, like, this is all part of my beingness, and the company that Leah and I are creating is, it's not about like, "Hey, look at what I'm doing." It's a, "Come join us." Come experience the vastness and the massive beauty and intensity of your own life, and come have buddies to do it with, someone to talk about it with, someone who understands and and really wants to bring that to you in ways that maybe you haven't brought to you before. So that was a thought that kind of escaped my mind. So thank you, universe, for bringing that back in.
I love what Natalie said. It's swimming outside the bowl in the vast ocean of endlessness. Just
Oh man,
so many
like,
possibilities.
what picture just came into your mind when she said that?
The bowl in the water, and
The
then
fish,
like,
yeah, the
yeah,
fish bowl, or the fish in the fish bowl in the ocean. Like,
yeah. And really, that's what India was like for me. It was feeling, not realizing I was in a fishbowl, and thinking I had all this freedom and control over my life and all this stuff, and then going to India, having an experience in the ocean, and then coming back and realizing, oh my God, I'm in a fishbowl.
I can't do it anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
and just
your
wanting,
soul doesn't actually allow you to continue in that space.
yeah. And I think because I moved in that direction, like I finally listened to what felt good for me. It opened my whole world in ways that I am just in awe. Like that, I was reflecting the other day just on this past year, and all the things I've done and how I've moved, asking myself the questions like, what's it going to take for you to create your life? And then in that reflection, I realized I have been actively creating my life. And it, today it just kind of hit me, this whole new sense of magic. Like, I've always believed in a magic, you want to call it magic or manifesting, or like I believe that so much to my core, that we're powerful creators, and we don't, sometimes I think we do it by accident. We don't even realize the ways that we're putting out energy, but we're always attracting things to us. We're always creating things. And I think I just realized just a different level of that today, and in being able to let go of some of the attachments I had with other people's voices in my head, and that even if those voices are negative, it says nothing about me. It's not my stuff. And it's a powerful thing to let go of. I think of a picture I drew. It was like a little sketch about, having a whole bunch of balloons, or you're flying, but you've got all these like tethers that are tied to the ground. And each rock, will say they're tied to rocks, and each rock is called something, and a bad memory, or you're questioning your self-worth or whatever. And in my mind, it was like just imagining this cute little scissor fairy coming across and cutting those tethers, and like being able to really stretch out my wings. And yeah.
As you're talking about that, it totally reminds me of that spot on the river. Was that our last night where it was threatening rain, and we put up that canopy and we totally tethered it down with ginormous rocks, and that picture just totally came to mind. And sometimes tethering can be a good thing, but I think for the most part, our souls require and demand freedom.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I know that you got a jet, so we'll just finish up and just say, wow, this was. I had no idea what to expect today. It's definitely far better than I anticipated, and definitely more heartfelt than I probably thought was going to take place. And just thank you for creating space for us to share, so that we can create space for you to share, and allow you permission to do the same things in your own world. If you'd like to be on our program or have other amazing people, send them our way. You can just go to the Righteous Rebels Facebook group. Join if you haven't, and then let us know. Lee, are you doing Creative Thursday this week?
Yes, I am.
So Thursday, that's tomorrow. You can look forward to Creative Unraveling with Leah. I have no idea what that looks like, but I'm excited. And then just be in touch. Be in touch. Know that you're loved, you're worth it, you're valued, and we appreciate who you are as human individuals, but also as your just amazing beingness. And with that, we're gonna just say, be bold,
be brave,
be rebel. All right, we'll see you soon.